Non-Americans who have been to the US. What is the weirdest thing about America that Americans don't realize is weird? I went to SeaWorld with my mum when I was in my mid-teens. Halfway through the show, the performer, not the whale, asked everybody in the military to stand up and the whole crowd gave them a round of applause. They sat back down and the show continued as if nothing had happened. Couldn't imagine anything similar happening back in Blighty. I love that you specified it wasn't the whale asking questions. How your medical ads show an old guy living life well because of X drug. He has the best time, the wife is having the best time, and it's all because of the drug making things better. The end of the ad is full of warnings about how this happy drug can potentially kill you and your family, nuke your dog and make cats impotent. Recap the cliffhanger episode of Life in Alaska before another ad break. Unwatchable TV. Not seeing toilet brushes in hotels. I know. Room service and stuff. But is my family expected to look at my skid marks meanwhile? That poison ivy not only exists, but it's so ubiquitous. Now that Thanksgiving and Christmas is over, the weirdest thing is that Americans will ask what you are doing for Thanksgiving. Are you going to your family, etc.? When you say no, they invite you to their home. I was a student. My family was thousands of miles away, and I'm happy that the local Cracker Barrel is open and looking forward to a meal there. My professor did that. Invited me to his home. I had a good time, but it was strange. I'm meeting his uncles and aunts, and one little girl threw a tantrum. I had to take her to calm her down, etc. It was weird, but also wonderful. In my country things like this would never happen. You don't bring a stranger to a family event. But I'm thankful things like this happen here. On behalf of my wife, what's up with the gaps in the toilet stall doors and no bidet? And a bidet to you, sir. When we were flying between cities, I found it weird to look out of the side of the plane and see towns mid-flight. In Australia, once you leave the city's airspace, the landscape is completely barren until you arrive at your destination. Car dealerships have huge flags. I don't get why you'd have a flag the size of 10 RVs. So many roads don't have street lights. Not weird, but portion sizes are also huge. I struggled with finishing my food sometimes. When you have ads for drugs and half of the ad is telling you how the drug will kill you while also showing puppies, it's weird. Side effects may include. Proceeds to list side effects worse than the issue. Oh, you have allergies, well take this medicine. Side effects may include runny nose, itchy eyes, and possibly death. Everything in America is huge. I don't just mean the people or portion sizes, because we all know about that, but the roads, the buildings, the ceilings, the space between everything. America is gigantic. It just feels larger than it does here. I'm Australian, but I've been to Asia and size-wise it's similar to Australia, and I've seen Europeans say the same about America. Everything is bigger. American that just traveled overseas. I went to a great bookstore in Edinburgh and the cashier asked if I wanted to sign up for a rewards membership. This led to a conversation about how their CEO or something just took over Barnes & Noble in the States. I stated the closest B&N to me is an hour away, and the other cashier jumped in, saying how easy it is to forget how far apart things are in the States. He was just kind of baffled and said it often blows his mind. I moved 13 hours away from my hometown and I still managed to be in the same country, which seems like a foreign concept for most Europeans, when, in reality, I could have moved even further away and still been in the US. Depending on the country, you can probably pass 4 countries in Europe in 13 hours. I'm not sure if they find it weird or not, but as a Canadian who has been to a few states, gambling at gas stations in Montana, so dang weird. Ranch. It is somehow both delicious and revolting, and changes which with every mouthful. A friend of mine asked what ranch was in Texas. The waitress was stumped. Well, it's ranch, man. I love the southern accent in the States though. Americans are super friendly to the point that I, Australian, thought it was sarcasm or fake. Free refills. Went to a restaurant with my dad, both German, and all of a sudden the waiter took away my drink with another perfectly good sip in it and I must have looked pretty shocked. It was only then when my dad explained to me that you guys have free refills. That there are a lot of squirrels. Went to the zoo with a Polish girl once and was super surprised when she found the squirrels more fascinating than all the large animal. Clearly the fact that there are people to put your groceries in a bag for you. I've never been so stressed and uncomfortable that while I was watching this young girl taking care of my groceries. I went to Germany and was shocked that the cashiers are seated. They all stand here in the US, which is unfortunate. There's no real reason for it. My Brazilian wife says she was amazed that we actually respect pedestrians here. As someone from the UK who visits the US, I find this statement staggering, and God knows what happens in Brazil. Not me, but my cousins who had lived in Kuwait and Australia for many years came to visit my family back in Texas and laughed at how we said y'all. Hawaiian here, but I never noticed that we didn't have billboards until I moved out of Hawaii. Turns out they're illegal, so that's weird. It's awesome, cause I get unobstructed views, but still weird. They are also illegal here in Alaska. When I moved to Florida for a while last year, I realized how much I liked not having them everywhere. For me, as British bloke who only traveled for 6 weeks in the US, your public transport is largely poor, but everything is built for cars and your cars are big. You advertise not businesses but personalities a lot. So it's not that KGH estate agents will well your property, but Mary Hutton will personally sell your house with a big picture of her face. Random people will talk to you. I'm a Londoner, so it is different up north in the UK, but especially when I got to the southern states, people were so happy to talk to random strangers. You guys actually sit at the bar in bars. When we go to a pub bar, we'll go with friends and rarely interact outside of that group really. You guys jump up at that bar and just start chatting. Where homelessness is visible, it's bloody awful. San Francisco was horrible for this. Me and my now wife ended up making a load of extra spag bowl to give to the homeless people outside our hostel because it was shocking to us. If I think of any more, I'll add them, but it's Christmas Day and I should probably talk to my family. Larry is also completely fricked with homelessness. Someone from my country who lives in USA told me that without a car you are crippled in America. Most of the time, yes. That's why getting a car as a teenager is a thing. Having multiple cars in one household. The amount of commercial breaks in a TV show. Ads in general actually. It is so hard to go anywhere without having something in obnoxiously large text trying to get your attention. Whether it be on the road, on TV, on the internet, and heck even in people's phones. Canadian here. I was blown away by how weirdly social people are with strangers. Like some random guy I've never seen before just starts telling me his life story on the street. He is super normal and doesn't seem crazy, just wants to talk to me for some reason. But then also, the dude at Wendy's is loudly threatening some 16-year-old cashier in front of like 45 people. I got the impression the Wendy's guy was uncool, but the other guy seemed normal, and where I live I generally assume that a stranger talking to me for no reason is either crazy or high. I lived for a long time in different places around the world, and something that I really missed when moving to a new town was the lack of a US style bar where it was easy for a stranger to meet people. Outside of the US, it is rare to find a bar where everyone just sits and faces the same direction, whether or not a sporting event was playing on the television. Instead, they have a more pub-like environment, where everyone is sitting in groups at their individual tables. This makes meeting new people extremely difficult. Think about it, with a table-style bar, in order to strike up a conversation with a stranger, you literally have to approach them while they are sitting at their own table with their own friends. It's almost impossible to not look like a total freak. In a proper Cheers-style bar, you can just say some random phrase to the bartender, and if the person sitting next to you wants to talk, they'll just join in on the conversation. Basically, in non-US bars, if you aren't invited ahead of time by someone, you are damned to sit alone in some corner of the bar. This makes sense. I am non-American, never understood how Americans went to meet new people at bars. I only ever go with friends. I live in the south, and one time I was hanging out with a friend smoking by a lake in late spring early summer. He was Egyptian and had just moved here over the winter. All of a sudden he freaked out saying he was seeing weird lights in the trees. I thought he was too high or something before I realized he meant the lightning bugs. He never seen them and didn't know what they were, so I started catching them and he was mind blown that they were just a normal seasonal thing. My ex was a native of Colorado and one summer night was completely awestruck by the lightning bugs that myself as a native Nebraskan just took for granted. Crazy how drastically different places in the US can be. Canadian here. Canada's fast food restaurants have signs at fairly normal height, just enough to get the point across while not being obnoxious. Cross over to the USA and within 5 seconds of leaving customs you can see fast food signs hundreds of feet in the air on giant poles. 2-3 times taller than here in Canada. Why also finding peanut butter and jelly swirled into the same jar was shocking. So they can be seen from the highway. Portion size. Saw a kid drinking a pop the size of his head. Child-sized drink. It's roughly the size of an average child if he were liquefied. Neon signs for a fricking funeral home will always stand out. Funeral, funeral, funeral. Holy crap. So me and my wife are here for our honeymoon right now. Been here for 2 days and what I've noticed. Your bathroom stalls have like a 3-foot gap at the bottom. WTF. Your food portion sizes are frickin' huge. Walmart is frickin' huge. Everyone wants to talk to us. We're British so we're used to sitting in uncomfortable silence. We keep making friends. I'm driving for the first time over here. You guys just turned right through red lights. WTF. How TF does four-way junctions work? So far I've been going for it and hoping for the best. Seems like a mad free-for-all to me. I actually really like how driving here works. All the roads are like bob on straight. 10 mile back home would take me 50 minutes. Here it's like 10 minutes through town. Your houses are weirdly unsecure, like, there is a glass window pane all the way down the side of the door. I could break my hand through and unlock it in all of 3 seconds. The back doors have a tent around the pool, and the rear door is a glass sliding one, single glazed. I could force it open with a toothpick. I ordered chips and got a weird look at a restaurant's night. The waitress brought me some Lay's chips. Bless. That's all I can think of right now. We're staying in Orlando for anyone wondering. The pool tent is for mosquitoes. This time of year not a problem. During the summer they will destroy you. How far apart everything is and how little is within walking distance. Location dependent, but I moved to a suburb in the Midwest as a kid and everything was so far away. Without access to a car and without reliable public transportation, it was pretty much impossible to get to a friend's house, unless they lived on your street or something, or go anywhere fun as a kid without relying on parents for a ride. Maybe things are different now with Uber and whatnot, but back then it felt pretty isolating. That's why the 80s looking Stranger Things aesthetic of a group of kids on bikes is so prevalent. For a lot of folks it's the only way to do anything as a kid. Legal drinking age at 21. It's really weird, especially at age 18 people consider you as an adult. Yup, you can star in a porno at 18 and own a house, but having a beer is out of the question. So stupid. Everything's so big. From the supercenter Walmart store to food portions, the parking lot, pickup trucks, house, cup of coffee, airport, even the people. If you think that's big, check out Costco. Lemonade made with real lemons and it's like super sour but somehow sugary sweet at the same time. In Australia lemonade is the same as Sprite. So when I was there my mum and I ordered Jack Daniels and lemonade and they made it with the real lemonade and it was awful. It was also weird because they sold pre-mixed bottles of Jack's and lemonade with the real lemonade, but in Australia you buy the same ones with Sprite lemonade. Free refills was the other big one. Everywhere has free refills as many times as you like. Never seen that before. Free refills are great for everyone monetarily, not healthily, because you can drink however much you want without going up and paying again, and each refill only costs the company a few cents, so they will always have big profit margins. Sometimes restaurants even take a loss on some food items hoping that people will buy a drink with it to more than make up the difference. In Germany, how are you is an actual question and you generally only ask it if you know the other person. It was super hard to explain to my mum that the answer is always fine, thank you, and that cashiers don't really care about how you actually feel when we visited the US in 2008. The bottom of the toilet cubile door is higher than a limbo bar. I want to crap in peace. As an American it bothers me too. Fancier restaurants have low doors. Which should be standard? You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.